Good morning, salutation, greetings. This is Jimmy Augustine, founder and CEO of Zamp, Hedge and Venture Fund. It's been quite the whirlwind tour as of late. Most recently, I had the pleasure of joining a good friend of mine, Gina Marie Soto, in Midland, Texas. I was there for less than 24 hours, but I had an amazing time. I met some incredible people. And then we flew to New York City, and I had the pleasure of attending the Carlisle Wealth Management event in Manhattan Wednesday through Sunday, actually, a couple weeks ago. I met and made some really nice friends, cool people, smart people, uber connected people across Europe, Asia, South America, and here in the U.S. And one thing that I continue to learn is how important your network is. We now are in the process of raising $230 million for our venture fund. We have 3 different vehicles and fundraising efforts. The very first one is we have a goal to raise $100 million for the best drone company on the planet. The name of that drone company is Atriot. The CEO is Olivier Lemon. He's French, like myself. I happen to be Cajun French from Southwest Louisiana, Cajun country. And Olivier and I have spent countless hours together. I first met him in Berlin, Germany, back in February with my good friend Philip. And Philip deserves all the credit in the world because he's the one that brought Secretary Acosta and I in to meet with Atriot. We first met with Dr. Till Becker, who's a former Mercedes executive. He ran Asia Pacific for Mercedes and had 40,000 employees reporting to him. Secretary Acosta and I met with Dr. Till and Philip in Munich, Germany back in February after the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. And by the end of the conversation, Dr. Till said that he wanted us to be a part of their fundraising effort. And it's been an absolute pleasure and delight to be working with the Atriot team. Olivier previously worked for Elon Musk at Tesla. He ran Korea and Japan for Musk. And he's a very seasoned, proven business leader. And he's doing a phenomenal job at Atriot. I spoke to him briefly yesterday, and he's maniacally focused on closing deals. South Korea, the Nordics, Saudi Arabia. They're already supplying the Ukrainian military in the war against Russia, which I refer to as the axis of evil. And right up there with Russia, you have Cuba, you have China, you have North Korea. This is a unique time for the United States to continue to exert their leadership with the GOAT in President Trump. What President Trump is doing in the Middle East and Cuba, Venezuela, what he's doing with China and Taiwan and now Russia is something that we've never seen before. This is a president that doesn't back down. If you shoot down one of our helicopters in the Middle East, we are going to retaliate. And what he's doing is masterful. It's akin to what a python does when it strangles its prey. And that's what we're doing in the Middle East with Iran. We are the python. We're fully wrapped around that country. The economic sanctions have been extremely destructive. We also are freezing all of their cryptocurrencies thanks to the Department of Treasury and Scott Bessent. So this is a coordinated effort. It's not one person. It is Trump leading the charge. But then you have his cabinet with Rubio and Vice President Vance, Scott Bessent, Scott Lutnick. Everybody's doing their fair share here. And it's a coordinated attack, which really has been the theme of Trump's second term in office. Everything that he's doing was planned 12 to 18 months before he took office. So we're as a country just executing on that plan. But let's pivot back to the axis of evil. So Russia decides to invade the Ukraine. The Ukraine is actually where the most mature use of drone technology is occurring today. So the Ukrainians are using Patriots drones to defend themselves, and now they're using Patriots drones to attack the Russian troops. I've got a video on my phone where you see the swarm of drones disappear. They disappear because they're going to drop bombs on the Russian troops. It's a beautiful thing, and we now are equipping the drones with artillery and bombs that allows our allies to be offensive in nature. Yes, Patriot started really as a defensive capability, and when I met with Olivier back in Berlin in February, he described to me that they were beginning to pivot away from using the word drones as what they do in their value proposition. They're now positioning the company as defense as a service. So if you want access to the drones and the secret sauce called artificial intelligence, and their brand of AI is called Rayan, R-A-Y-N. Rayan is the secret sauce for the drones. It allows them to fly the drones in an autonomous fashion where no human beings or pilots are being used. So what that allows the government in Singapore is to protect their airport. And Olivier was recently in Singapore where we expanded the scope of what we're doing with Singapore. We now have a contract with the Singapore military. And so the military can use the drones in a defensive and offensive posture, which is phenomenal. And we got an amazing demo on our respective laptops that shows the protected airspace in front of the Singapore airport. The minute that North Korea or China sends a missile or any kind of drone or fighter plane or jet into their protected airspace, that alerts Patriot's drones, and there's a wall of literally 100 drones that goes up protecting each perimeter. So if you assume it's a rectangle, there's 4 walls of drones. Those drones have shoot and kill capabilities. Qatar, Dubai, Guatemala, they're using Patriot's drones to protect their critical infrastructure. Guatemala specifically is an important channel and ability to ship oil, to transmit oil from the Gulf over to the Pacific. And George Mesa is the president of Patriot. He was critical in making that deal happen. We now are talking to the Department of War about contracts and opportunities with the Air Force, the Army, the Marines. We're opening a warehouse in Doral, Florida, right near Miami International Airport. We're going to begin to manufacture the drones in the next 2 to 3 months. We'll be at scale in 3 months. And the $100 million that we're raising will go to hiring roughly 200 to 300 employees to buy the supplies and the parts and the machines. We're going to hire 20 salespeople across the country. And so in 3 months, the U.S. government will have access to the most sophisticated, mature drones on the planet. And we're going to create 300 jobs along the way. We are looking at tax incentives from the state of Florida. The state of Louisiana has offered tax incentives, so we're looking for more from the state of Florida. We love the location of Miami. It's a hub for the rest of the world. You can get to Europe, South America. We're talking to every major country around the world that is aligned with the U.S. So if you're looking to have your money make money, I would encourage you to reach out to myself or my team about participating in this fundraise that we're doing. Olivier and Patriot want to close the Series B fundraising by the end of June. And so there's a sense of urgency to act now if you want to participate. So that's fund number one, or SPV number one. SPV number two is for Nexus Core Systems in Europe. We just had a call with their chairman, their CEO, and also their CTO with my investment bank. Will Dietrich is the principal at Riverside Management that we're working with. He's based over in Palm Beach. Will's been a great partner. He's helping us raise the $230 million. We're going to overachieve. I have the utmost confidence and respect in what Will brings to the table. And so Nexus is a neo cloud with data centers and access to data centers in Norway and Sweden, Morocco, and Turkey. And their design point was, hey, look, we have access to the NVIDIA GPUs. And the home run hire is their CEO, Yap, who used to run EMEA for Jensen Huang at NVIDIA. And he's doing a phenomenal job. And so their design point was, let's look at the operating expense and costs of running a data center. Yeah, table stakes is getting access to the NVIDIA GPUs. But given Yap's relationship with Jensen, that's not going to be an issue. So supply is not a question mark. Demand is not a question mark. So what they did is they said, what we need access to the cheapest energy in Europe. And the European companies and governments like to keep their data within the EU in the confines of Europe. So the design point was, let's get the cheapest energy in Morocco, Norway, and Finland, and Sweden, and also Turkey. And so they've done that. They're talking to all the major hyperscalers in the US, Europe, some of the other neoclouds that are publicly traded. They're talking to cloud service providers in Asia. They're just putting ink to paper on a large transaction with an Asian cloud service provider. We're getting in at a valuation of $750 million with the prospect of quadrupling your money in the next 12 to 18 months. So if you want your money to grow 400 to 500%, reach out to us. We're raising $50 million for Nexus. The third SPV is for a general purpose SPV where we're raising $80 million. We have 20 startups in our deal funnel today. Secretary Acosta said to me a couple months ago in West Palm, you don't have a problem sourcing deals. Where you need to focus is on raising money. And that's where I've been focused the last 2 months. And that's where I will be focused the next 3 to 5 years. This is all about raising money. You can have access to great technology and great startups, but if you don't have the money to fund them, you're putting yourself in a bad position. So I've learned a lot in a short period of time. We started this venture fund and the idea to create a venture fund in November of last year. And over the last 6 months, I've learned a lot. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've disappointed a lot of people. But the key in life is to learn from your mistakes and never repeat them. And so that's what I'm doing every day. Rise and shine, and you grind every day. But you work smart, intelligent, and you work in a professional manner with high integrity. The beautiful thing about where we're at today is that there's a fair amount of capital out there. We're talking to billionaires, folks that are worth $300, $500 million. And we now have a team across the country. We have a great individual in San Diego. We have a great person in Michigan. We have Gina Marie Soto in Midland, Texas, who used to work for the governor in Arizona. She worked for a government entity in New York City. She was there for 9/11 when I was there for 9/11. She survived. She was in one of the Twin Towers and had to flee the building and walk down the stairs to save her life. She's a survivor, she's a fighter, but she's a great human being, and she's a great partner in crime. She was recently in Monaco for the F1 race, celebrating her birthday with her friends that we met at the Carlisle Wealth Management event. And she had the gumption to share pictures and videos of her time in Monaco while I was hanging out here in Naples, Florida. Don't cry in your beer for me. Naples, Florida is not a bad place to be. We have white sand, pristine beaches, and palm trees galore. I refer to it as paradise. So, in summary, we're raising $230 million. That money that we're raising will make money. Your money will be locked up for 3 years as custom within the venture world. Our management fees for the first two funds will be zero. We originally were thinking 2.5%, but we got some feedback from some very smart individuals in Midland, Texas, that doesn't make sense. We listen to our customers and prospects, and the answer is always yes. So we're willing to work with you. The minimum check size is $100K. Again, we're working with Riverside. I have SS&C up in Manhattan, who's our fund administrator. They're the largest fund administrator on the planet. They work with venture and hedge funds. We've got commitments for roughly $1 million from some of the friends in my network. And the money's going to start coming in. And we're super excited about the prospects. The valuation for Atriate in this raise is $500 million. We are going public on the NASDAQ in December of this year, or by the end of the year, at a much higher valuation. And if past performance is any indication of future performance, Swarmer, a much smaller drone company, went public about 3 months ago on the NASDAQ, and their stock popped about 1,000% in the first week. So we can't guarantee 1,000%, but we can guarantee that you're getting into a drone company that has AI. Their AI is unique and differentiated. They're selling that AI. They're licensing the AI, which is essentially software, to other defense companies. And it's a very lucrative business to be in. The actual hardware in a drone is a commodity. So where you want to invest when you're looking at drone investments is the AI. What kind of AI do they have? Is it defensible? Is it something that China can't build? Speaking of China, I read an article today that Taiwan tested some missiles on the beach in one of the straits that's facing China. So the beautiful thing about the drone business and the defense business is what's going on in the Middle East is just the tip of the spear. You've got the conflict in the Middle East. You've got the war with Ukraine and Russia. The government's predicted that China will not do anything aggressively with Taiwan until next year. So there is the potential for another conflict in Asia next year. So you have countries like South Korea and Taiwan that are talking to Atriate, and I'm pretty confident we'll close that business. South Korea wants to protect the DMZ from North Korea, whom happens to be doing quite well financially for whatever reason. And it's a beautiful thing to be in the defense industry. And in the general purpose SPV, we have Voltaic Marine, which is developing the next-gen battleship for the Navy. We also have a minesweeper in Switzerland that's raising money to disarm bombs and artillery that's in oceans and bodies of water like the Strait of Hormuz. We also are talking to a couple green, clean energy companies. One's a lithium miner that is the fastest, cheapest, best miner on the planet. We're talking to Hion that's building out a new charging infrastructure for EVs in the U.S., and they're partners with Tesla. So that gives them access to the latest and greatest Tesla superchargers. And that's just the tip of the spear. We have AI plays, we have defense plays, we have green energy plays, drones, pickleball, which I'm very passionate about. I play pickleball for 2 to 3 hours every day. I'm in the best shape of my life. So boundless, limitless opportunities. And we'd love to talk to you if you're interested in getting your money to make money. Thank you and have a good day.